Thanks. Thank you for the work that you, Brittany, and the whole Magic team do. I do also want to acknowledge Jada. I know a lot of us and Magic people got into this work for this reason to prevent that kind of situation on the front end, but hopefully try to have our young people thrive so that events, situations like that don't happen. And I just want to acknowledge all the work that you do on the daily. I want to acknowledge all the Magic staff and participants, and also happy Black History Month and upcoming Lunar New Year to everyone who's both here and who is here virtually. This is just a little roadmap for my presentation today. We're going to speak about our purpose, who we serve, and what we do as your public defenders. We're also going to share some recent courtroom achievements, our work around community safety, the details of our current budget situation, and calls to action to further this work. After I was elected initially, we went through a strategic planning process to clarify our mission, our values, our theory of change, and our vision for a world where collective humanity is cherished. Our theory of change includes, in our mission, fiercely defending individuals. That word fiercely was not randomly chosen. This is an adversarial system where the other side has way more resources when you look at police, prosecution, sheriffs, all of that, right? We know the historical injustices in our system, and if we're not skilled, if we're not trained, if we're not willing to fight at a high level, injustice will happen. So we insist that when people come into our office, they want to fight, and they want to fight fiercely, not adequately, not appropriate, but fierce defense in the courtroom. That's the first word of our mission, and it's there for a reason. We're also about confronting state-sponsored violence, including the violence inflicted by law enforcement. This vision came together after the murder of George Floyd, and now we've seen here with Renee Good, et cetera. And also, I just came back from Chicago. I was telling Marvell that we were just chatting about that. Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, he was killed by ICE in Chicago months before Renee Good. So there's been many instances of this state-sponsored violence that we've been seeing. We know this is a problem, and that's why years ago we formulated that as a function of our office, and we're committed to that because we know what happens when we're not vigilant in trying to confront state-sponsored violence. But it's not just about confronting state-sponsored violence, it's also about the flip. What do we want to see in the world? And that's what Magic, to me, embodies, is that youth empowerment work, that thriving, that safety that we're trying to generate every day. Our values are love, compassion, courage, and excellence. The best defenders, we love our clients. The best defenders are compassionate. The best defenders strive for excellence. Okay? But without courage, without a willingness to challenge what some people would like to see, some people want the system to be a plea mill, where it's just a factory system where you're just pleading people guilty as they come through the system, which sets people up for failure. We're not about that. But because there are forces that want the system to be like that, we have to have the courage to oppose that and bring the other values to life. Maya Angelou says, and I saw this when I was in Chicago, they have this building called the Freedom Center. They have it up on the wall. Courage is the most important virtue, because without courage, you can't practice any other value consistently. So that's what we aspire to in the office. We developed this theory of change in order to keep ourselves grounded in our purpose and in our goals as we provide a range of legal services to people in San Francisco, both youth and adults. Our office is organized into 4 primary strategies and divisions. Our defense unit is focused on in the courtroom work, including youth, adults, immigration court, and mental health court. Our confront states violence and advocate for community power function includes our community programs and our systems change work, including, and Brian and Zach are here representing our law enforcement integrity unit. Our training and operations unit, that's the backbone of our defense teams, and our internal cultural and human resources unit, which makes sure the office runs smoothly. We have a leadership team in charge of these areas. We have our brilliant chief attorney, Matt Gonzalez, who's a phenomenal trial attorney and just a thought partner in so many ways for me. We have Patty Lee, who's the most experienced youth defender in the whole country. She heads up our defense function. We have Angela Chen, who's here from the Asian Law Caucus, an expert in sanctuary policies, who leads our policy and community empowerment efforts under the confront and advocate function. Our senior, incredibly skilled attorney and in charge of training and chief in operations is Hadi Razak. And then here today we have Liston Lacoste, our chief of staff, who, as you know, is a former longtime executive director of B Magic and a community leader in San Francisco. We have a powerful team of 250 justice warriors at the public defender's office. About half are attorneys, about half are non-attorneys, including social workers, paralegals, investigators, and clerks, who play a variety of critical roles. We serve over 20,000 indigent people annually. We're client-centered, but we're also family-centered because we know that the impact that we have on our particular client is going to impact not just them, but their whole family, their ecosystem, and oftentimes the next generation. And as you can see, we represent the most oppressed and marginalized communities in San Francisco. Fierce defense in the courtroom. In 2025, we took 83 felony cases to trial and 131 misdemeanor cases to trial. Dismissals in 1,716 cases in felonies and misdemeanors. And these dismissals aren't just walking over to the DA's office and saying, this case is weak, will you dismiss it? Like, oh yeah, sure, we see that. No, we do all the work, we do the investigation, we file the motions, we're usually on the eve of trial, we're pushing it, we're saying, prove this case, and then at that point, the district attorney, we find in this number of cases, just dismissed it outright. These dismissals show how common mischarging or overcharging is. And that's why we have to have a public defender's office that is committed to fierce defense and a willingness to go to trial. If we didn't do this, fight against overcharging, fight against mischarging, fight against coercing guilty pleas or pressuring people to get into pleading guilty, fight against an issue which we've dealt with lately, which is not getting all the material we need from the district attorney's office and having to get it on the eve of trial when it's too late. So we're fighting against that issue now. Those things, those injustices lead to long sentences. They lead to family separation. So we're going to fight every single day in court to combat those injustices and to combat that kind of cruelty. And we're very proud of the skill with which we defend and the organizational structure we have to generate high defense. And that's why we get so many good results in court. We don't just fight in court, though. We're also about holistic defense. And from whatever position clients came to us from, while we're fighting their case, we want our clients getting to a better place, right? So we have a lot of programs. We have an End the Cycle program where we're referring people to treatment. We have a college pathway program where we're getting our clients connected to City College and to SF State. We have an educational attorney in the schools trying to make sure that young people are not getting expelled and fighting for their rights. They are in the system trying to make sure that their educational process continues. We have an excellent clean slate program that's expunging records. We're also providing deportation defense for our clients, for our immigrant clients. And our integrity unit is filing police misconduct complaints so the city is aware of who the officers are and, which ones should not be on the force, which ones need to be disciplined, which is not only just good for public safety, but ultimately saving the city a lot of money on the back end to try to prevent some tragedies happening on the street. All of this work is critical to supporting our families and keeping our communities healthy and safe. I'm going to shift now to talking about our work in promoting community safety through community empowerment. This year, we know it's more important than ever that our communities know their rights and are empowered when encountering law enforcement from whatever whatever agency it is, whether it's SFPD or ICE or another agency, or when detained in jail, or if you have questions about immigration. So we developed a Know Your Rights brochure this year to distribute to our clients and communities. Please take one today. They're on the table over here before you leave. You can also download it from our website under the frequently asked questions section. We're super proud of our immigration unit because when you cannot afford an attorney in federal immigration court, you're not appointed an attorney. It's not like the criminal system. So we try to take as many cases as we possibly can. Given the increase in ICE arrests, detentions, and deportations, our immigration unit is focused right now on defending our immigrant community members and keeping them safe. In 2025, along with our immigration legal nonprofit partners, we started an Attorney of the Day program to provide consultation to people who are going to ICE check-ins at the ICE building on 630 Sansom in San Francisco. We've also given a lot of Know Your Rights training and passed this sign out you see right here for people to post at their homes and workplaces so people know how to assert their rights and remain silent and not just concede to a search. Our Freedom Project. This is something that we got funding for from Mayor Breed when I was first elected to be the public defender. There have been changes in the law so that people who are serving life sentences for unjust convictions, or when the judge did not have the discretion, now they have the discretion to actually bring people home. Our Freedom Project has brought over 100 people safely back from prison. The recidivism rate is 0. This is saving the state millions and millions of dollars every year, and it's reuniting families. We have an excellent team. We have very skilled social workers to make sure when people transition out, they can thrive. And we're really excited about our collaboration with the Impact Justice and the Homecoming Project. And you hear more about that. They're going to talk about how now people can get paid to house people coming home from prison in their homes, so that we have that one critical piece, which of course is housing, taken care of on the front end. Our Clean Slate program is also critical to the work we do in community. They hold community clinics throughout San Francisco to help people clear their records so they can remove barriers to jobs and housing. Last year, they started a new clinic with Glide. And as we know, when you have that tag, that record, it's very difficult to obtain housing. It's difficult to get that job, and it's difficult to get that promotion. Recently got a letter from one of our Clean Slate clients, and I want to share it with you. Thank you, Clean Slate. I would like to thank Kelly Pretzer and the very professional folks at the SF Public Defender's Office Clean Slate program. The team has devoted extensive resources and countless hours toward clearing my record, which helped me return to a life of gainful employment and responsible habits. Years of poor decisions and questionable behavior have severely tainted a once spotless rap sheet. The documents that summarize my unlawful actions amounted to pages and pages of legal terminology, codes, and references which only serve to frustrate and confuse me. Without having the public defender's office to essentially hold my hand, I would have never been able to successfully navigate the process required to obtain a clean slate. As a result of their efforts, I've once again been able to obtain employment at a top-level company that would otherwise refuse me due to my history. When seeking opportunities, I was no longer required to exclude certain positions due to my past. I was free to apply to any company I wished without the fear of a background check disqualification. Kelly and everyone she works with provide invaluable services to residents regardless of income. They deserve the recognition and appreciation of those who have helped. Kelly Pretzer and the Clean Slate team, thank you for everything you've done. Give it up for them. This is the work we do, and this is dozens of people every week whose life is moving in a more positive direction, and their families, because our Clean Slate team is getting their record expunged so they don't have that past with them going forward. They can actually move to a more empowering place. So here's a current snapshot of our current fiscal budget and allocation breakdown. As you know, we have a very lean budget. The majority of it is staffing. Someone was joking the other day. They came to the office. They're like, here's a pen, here's a pad, and here's a pen. That's what you got. And we're very lean, but the people we hire are top end, top notch. And let me put our budget in context. We are the small green bar here on the left side. Okay. Next to us is the DA, then the sheriff, and then the police. Year after year after year, there's drastic inequality between our budget and that of the district attorney's office, the police, and the sheriff. We lack equity in anything close to parity with the other public safety agencies. We represent 84% of the indigent population who are accused in criminal courts and 80% total when you factor in the people who retain private counsel. We're nowhere near 80% of the budget. Okay? Keep in mind, we also don't just represent people in criminal court. We represent people in immigration court. So we have federal authorities on the other side of the aisle. We represent people in mental health court, city attorney on the other side of the aisle. So we're competing. Our clients are being prosecuted in a sense by different agencies. We don't even have the percentage with the DA though. So this is something we are bringing attention to. And it's time for the city to take steps towards parity. This has led to a crisis. Okay? Now, the budget inequities have been happening for quite some time, but in the last few years, these inequities have contributed to a workload crisis in our office. Active felony cases since 2019 have increased by 55%. This is pre-pandemic. Okay? Active misdemeanor cases have increased by 68%. While we've had some growth in our staff, it hasn't been anywhere close to that increase. But it's not just the number of cases. There's been workload studies that have come out. In 2023, a national workload study came out, and just in September, the California legislature commissioned the Office of the State Public Defender to analyze the national workload study for California. And when you look at that, it talks about the number of social workers, paralegals, clerical, and what the caseloads should be. We're way over what recommended state and national and state standards are. Then the actual work in each case is also way more than it used to be because of all the surveillance technology and body-worn camera, cell phone data, security camera footage. There's been a 55% increase just in body-worn camera from last year. And it was, since 2017, about almost 9 times as much. So every case is also much more complicated to defend than it used to be. So because of those inequities in funding, increase in cases, and huge volume in technology, we're overloaded. So starting in May and last year, we told City Hall, we told the courts, we're not going to be able to take every single case. We can't keep on increasing the caseload and expect the same defenders to handle these cases. So for some of the cases, we've been what's called temporary overloading or saying unavailable. And there's a private conflict panel that's been handling those cases. Even with that adjustment, our felony cases are still way higher than recommended levels. 58 cases still per felony attorney. And the workloads, because we're not just supposed to look at the cases, what kind of case it is and how much work each case entails, is way, way higher. The same goes for our misdemeanor cases. So even with this period of not taking all the cases, are still at 135 cases per attorney. And what it asks you all is if there is a loved one of yours who is unfortunately in the system, would you be concerned that that attorney had too many cases in that moment? And if so, why is that okay for our clients who are poor, who are indigent, who are immigrants, who are people of color, who may have language barriers? Why is it okay for them? And that's why we're pushing so hard for more funding so we can bring on more staff to reduce these unsustainable workloads. And sometimes we may provide the best representation possible. And let me say, be clear, this is a racial justice issue. Remember one time a few years ago where I had two clients, one a Vietnamese immigrant, one African American from Sunnydale, and I just talked to both of them. Both your cases are complex. Both of them are going to take a long time. Which one of you wants to go first? The Vietnamese immigrant client was appreciative of my other client who had been teaching him English. He said, take care of him first. And we did that trial first. It took 6 months. He was acquitted. And then I went on to represent my Vietnamese immigrant client who was also looking at very long sentence. He was acquitted too. So they got the right result for those cases, but it took way too much time to do it, and he had to wait. And we have just normalized in this society that defender clients, the majority of whom are poor people of color, should sit in a cage for weeks, months, or years before their team can actually devote time to actually working on the case. And that's morally wrong. And this is why we need to make some changes. And I want to note, this isn't just unique to San Francisco. Public defenders are overloaded across the country. This report, the California Public Defense Workload Study, came out and showed how officers should be staffed. 2 lawyers for 1 investigator, 3 lawyers, 1 social worker, 1 paralegal for 4 lawyers, and 1 admin assistant for 4 lawyers. We're not close to that in any of these areas. To meet this, we need 41 more investigators, 21 more social workers, and 19 more clerical staff. When the work doesn't get done quickly enough, justice is delayed. And justice delayed is what? Justice denied, exactly. So we're going to continue to fight for appropriate levels of funding because that's the people we represent, and that's the mandate that we took. When I took a community oath where I said I'm going to continue to fight for more parity for defender funding so that we can bring justice to our people. Our goals for this year are to obtain sufficient funding so we can take all the cases again, and also a step towards parity. And that is something to be clear. I really want to take all the cases again as soon as we can because I'm very proud of the representation that we provide. But we need a step towards the direction that the workload studies say is necessary for competent, effective representation. We also are going to fight for our community partners who do the critical work for our clients and whose budgets I also know are being cut. We're going to continue to provide excellent and culturally competent representation to the people we represent, establish more pathways for our clients to obtain housing, jobs, and education, educate the community about rights with police and ICE, and fight for the safety of our immigrant communities, and continue to provide that holistic representation that I know San Franciscans want. Please sign up for action alerts to support our office's budget. You can take a picture of this QR code right here and sign up for those alerts. Advocate for our policy and funding priorities that advance equity and justice in our criminal system. Also, follow us on social media at SF Public Defender, at Mano Raju PD on Instagram, at sfpublicdefender.sf.gov on Blue Sky, at Mano Raju PD .bsky.social on Blue Sky also. We provide a lot of information there. You can keep up with what we're doing. So honored to be able to present here at the African American Cultural Center, and grateful to be able to present about our priorities to all of you. Thank you.